1.1 is about graphs and graphing utilities. Go ahead and throw your name on here if you want. Oh, that pin is definitely dead. Take 2. Throw my name on here. Much better. Okay. The first thing on here is graphing an equation using the point plotting method. So there are a lot of different methods to graphing. One method to graphing that you need to be familiar with is if you don't know how to graph, just plug in a bunch of numbers and graph those points. So we are going to graph y equals 4 minus x squared. We're going to use integers for x starting with -3 and ending with +3. So we are literally going to plug in -3 through +3 in for x and solve. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out that left column of my table. It's going to be -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Really proud of myself for putting the correct number of boxes. And then we are going to plug in x into our equation. So we'll do 4 minus -3 squared. I got a new camera. Okay, I think I want autofocus. Otherwise it keeps focusing. Just focus it once and then I think it'll stay focused. All right, so -3 squared is 9. So now I've got 4 minus 9. And 4 minus 9 is -5. So that gives me my first ordered pair is at -3, -5. And then I am literally just going to graph that. So graph a point at -3, -5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 5. So point plotting method, you literally just plug the points in. On Math Excel, it's going to tell you to plug in -3, give you a box to put in that answer before you can move on and plug in -2. So you would like type in -5 and then you would do the next one. So plugging in -2, we'll do 4 minus -2 squared. -2 squared is 4, so that's just going to be 4 minus 4, which is 0. So now I'll have a point at -2, 0. So I'll go left 2, up 0. And then we just keep going with that. 4 minus -1 squared. -1 squared would be +1. So then 4 minus 1 would be 3. And I would have a point at -1, 3. The left one up 3. And then plugging in 0, it would be 4 minus 0 squared. So that would just be 4 minus 0, which would just be 4. So I'd have a point at 0, 4. Okay, for the sake of time, and because I think they're going to announce the fire drill or the tornado drill in like 1 minute, -1 squared is the same thing as 1 squared. So plugging in 1 would also be 4 minus 1, which would also be 3. Plugging in 2 would be the same as plugging in -2. So it would end up being 4 minus 4, which would be 0. And then plugging in -3 is going to be the same as plugging in +3. It's going to end up being 4 minus 9, which will equal -5. So for the sake of time, we can graph those points. They're just going to be directly reflected across the y-axis. So once with the point plotting method, once you have drawn some points, then you just gently connect them.
In a few moments, you will hear the tornado siren going off in the building. This is a tornado drill. In a few moments, please report to your designated area for the tornado drill in just a few moments.
Okay, I'm going to pause this video. Pause video. Bye for a moment video. All right, so next thing is identifying x and y intercepts. So your x-axis is your horizontal axis, like the horizon. Your y-intercept is your vertical axis, like my mad vertical, goes up and down. You need to be able to identify your x and your y-intercepts. So I just snipped and clipped this image. This first one, A, has a x-intercept at -1, 0. So it has an x-intercept at -1, and it has a y-intercept at 0, 2. So that y-intercept would be at 2. It may ask you to put in an ordered pair or put in an intercept as an ordered pair. If it does that, it needs to be an ordered pair. If it doesn't, then you can just list the intercept. Graph B only has an x-intercept because it only crosses the x-axis. It has no y-intercept. So graph B has an x-intercept at 3. So you could write that as 3, 0 or 3, depending on how it wanted it. Okay, graph C crosses both the x and the y-axis at the same time at 0, 0. So it has both an x-intercept and a y-intercept of 0. So it's the same for both. Okay. Any questions on intercepts? Hey, flip this over. This is snipped and clipped directly from the textbook. The last one here is kind of like a using a graph to solve a problem. And a lot of these have you use both a graph and an equation to answer something and then compare. So it says divorce rates are considerably higher for couples who marry in their teens. Don't get married in your teens. The line graphs in figure 111 show the percentages of marriages ending in divorce based on the wife's age at marriage. So terrible, terrible graphic there. A wedding cake cut in half. It's kind of funny, actually. This top line is if the wife is under 18 when she gets married, and this is if she's over 25. The bottom line is if she's over 25. Here are two mathematical models that approximate the data displayed by the line graph. So this is the model. In an equation, here it is on a graph. We are asked to use the appropriate formula to determine the percentage of marriages ending in divorce after 10 years when the wife is over 25 at the time of marriage. So we're going to use this equation. This is for part A. We use this equation because she's over 25 at the time of marriage, and we're going to plug in 10. So it'll be 2.3n plus 1.5. So 2.3 times 10 plus 1.5. 2.3 times 10, that'll just scoot your decimal place over once. This will be 23 plus 1.5. So that'll be 24.5%. So that is my answer for part A, is the percentage of marriages ending in divorce after 10 years using the formula is 24.5%. Okay, then part B asks us to use the appropriate line graph to determine the percentage of marriages ending in divorce after 10 years when the wife is over 25. So for that one, we are going to go to the bottom line on the graph and go to 10 years. And it would be this dot right here. And I know the picture's kind of blurry. Oh, it's really blurry right there. But following that over, that's right at 25%. That graph is right at 25% using the wife is over 25, 10 years of marriage, followed over the percent. 25% there. That's part B is 25%. And then C says, does the value given by the mathematical model underestimate or overestimate? So this is the model. This is from the graph. So this underestimates by 0.5%. Okay, so that is it for graphing. I am going to go log into MathXL. Your assignment's already posted. I want to tell you guys, I think it's 8 problems long. I think it's 2 plotting with points, or I think it's 3 plotting with points, 3 X and Y intercepts, and then 2 of these. But I think they're related to each other. They use like the same information. So I'm logging in right now to tell you guys that it should take you approximately, assignment manager. I forgot to look when I was making it on the time. 14 minutes is what it says, and it is 10:03 right now. We get out of here at 10:20. So get logged in, get started. Whatever you guys don't get done, work on between now and Wednesday. Don't let yourself fall behind. If you fell behind during chapter P, don't let yourself fall behind during this chapter. So go get it done right now. Open up your Chromebook, work on it right now.